Hello, welcome. Thanks for being here for how to train and maintain a rock star team. We have a few people that are still logging on, so we're going to give them just a couple minutes, maybe 4 minutes more to get going. So grab your team, text the link to doctor friends, anyone you know that could benefit from this topic, because we are going to rock and roll hardcore. Start writing down any questions you have or challenges in regards to training and a great team and also keeping a great team once you have them. Grab a water, lunch, protein bar, whatever you need to just be fully present here with us for about 30 minutes. So grab what you need. We'll let a few more people log on and then we'll rock and roll. Danielle, it's so good to see you. It's been a long time. Hey,
I know I couldn't be on the last one, and then we switched to quarterly, so it's been a bit.
it looks like you guys have been doing amazing things over at the association too.
We're ramping up. We're getting a whole bunch of stuff.
I've been excited to see all the cool master classes that you guys are offering. Like, so great to have that available. It's wonderful.
And we have a whole bunch of big names coming to our convention this year. We have like Dr. Hovik is coming out. She's doing she's doing a whole, she does the whole um like she'll do like a US tour every couple years. Because
Yeah.
it's hard to come out, especially when she's doing all this research. She can't leave for a big extended time. So she'll come out and she'll do like a little bit and then she'll go back and do a whole bunch of research and then she'll come back. So we got like Dr. Hovick, we got Dr. Silverman, we've got I have it right in front of my face. I don't know why I'm pretending that I'm remembering things. Dr. Monique Andrews, who was highly requested. Yeah, we got some big names coming this year.
You guys are great at getting amazing speakers. Like all the ones that I've been to, it's top notch and it's nice to see some women on stage too. I
I
think you're
would love to
fat.
take credit. Part of it is Dr. RJ. He has so many connections, and I love it because it
Yeah.
helps me a lot.
Hmm.
But like, I'm like, hey, who do you know? And he's like, I can contact all these people. Or like, if people don't get back to me, I'm like, hey, can you reach out to them and chat with them for me?
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, I'll send them a text right now. I'm like, oh, you're on a texting basis. That is even better for me. So thank you.
Amazing. That is like a great, I just finished right at the top of the hour, my CA mastermind. I'm like, that's a great nugget for CAs right there. Like, such a great nugget. Like, follow up, do your due diligence, do the initial introduction, but don't be afraid to be like, hey, doctor, like, will you text this person? Will you make a call? Because sometimes they need that extra nudge and like they already have that rapport. It's so powerful. My team, Remember my amazing right-hand woman. She's here today, Brittany.
Oh, yeah,
She
she's
does
so
that for
cool.
me, and she'll like send me somebody's contact, even if I
Mhm.
already have it saved. It's the most helpful thing because I can just like click and call or click and text.
They're
So
not even
it helps
taking
me
it
stay organized.
personally.
Oh,
Like some people take it
yeah.
personally when they're like, they didn't respond to me. I'm like, sometimes they do just really want to talk to Andrea, the executive director. They want to talk to a past president. I'm not a chiropractor, so they don't want to talk to me. And it's okay. They don't want to talk to me.
Or they could
Um,
like not see the email. You know what I mean? Or
mhm.
they read it and they're like, oh yeah, I need to get back to that. And then
Yeah, I do
forget.
that all the time. I'm like, oh, I need to get back to that person, and then I've got so many other things. One thing you can add to like your bucket of things. Andrea found this tool. It's called Boomerang,
Oh,
and it
I
literally works like a boomerang, and I love it because I just set things that always come back to me because I forget.
oh, cool.
And you
Different
can
than
tell
the
it
other boom.
when you want it to come back. So it has like standard ones in there, but you can specifically tell it like I want this to come back to me on this date at this time. I
Beautiful.
love that feature.
Ooh,
So
I'm gonna check that
Boomerang is a good one.
boomerang. That's probably gonna be helpful for more than more
I'm
than
going to look into that now.
Oh,
okay.
I love
Thank you,
so they have a
Danielle.
free one where they have like you get like a certain amount of tokens, but we upgraded pretty quickly because we realized how great it was. But I love it because it just like sends things back to you and it comes back at the top of your inbox and flagged.
That's
So it can
perfect.
be like
Cool.
I use it as like two ways. It can be like I've sent an email to somebody and it says like if nobody responds in this chain, including you, it sends it back.
That is so good.
But
I love
I also do it for me, like I know I've read this, but I need to respond. So like I can set it for tomorrow.
that
So it
is
can be
so
like I
good.
read this and I need to go back and
Yeah. We do like you can star and we'll star different colors, like depending on what team member. But I like the idea because sometimes even the starred ones get buried. I love that. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, because then it gets
A
into your
bonus, a
inbox.
pre-training bonus. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm noticing we're 11 after, so let's jump into our topic today. If you are here joining, please join by video. We love to see you guys, so put your video back on, please, please, please. If you at all can, join by video, even if your hair is not done or whatever. It's so much better. And what I found, like I make that a requirement when I'm working with my CAs, because what I found, even myself, like all of us, it's just psychological. If we turn that video off, all of a sudden, we're going to check the text. We're going to step out of the room and do these things that are going to make us unengaged in this moment. So give yourself the gift. If you're going to be here, fully be here. Like just be present, be here, really get the information. We live in a culturally ADD society where we all think we can multitask and be amazing, but then we rob ourselves of the experience of really being present and truly absorbing and growing from the information. So today's topic is training and retaining an exceptional team. So I have two goals for you guys today. Again, please join by video. I know you have it. I have two goals today. The first one is to give you guys some really tangible, powerful stuff that's going to help you train your team. And then not only that, but retain them. So, like, what do you do when you've got that great team member? They're awesome and you don't want them to leave. So, training and retaining, I'm going to give you some powerful things that hopefully will be a game changer for you in your practice. And then, additionally, the second goal is I want to give you resources. I don't want to just leave you with this and say, go for it, have fun, good luck, right? I want to give you tons of resources that you can use and utilize to quantum leap your time and effort. So, as a practice owner, you're not working in the practice, but you're working on the practice. So I'm going to give you resources such as myself that you can utilize to train your team and to retain your team where you have things working for you in the process. So jump in again, please join by video. So we live in the weirdest time in history right now. In California yesterday, they passed a law where the fast food industry needs to pay $20 an hour to employees, $20 an hour. And I've been speaking with quite a few people in the medical industry who are feeling so stuck because like they're not able to charge more for their services and just all the politics behind it. It's insane. But my point here is we live in a time where things are really expensive, right? And we may not be able, the numbers just don't add up, essentially, is the bottom line. So I used to train on this topic and am very convicted that people will do more for purpose than pay. I still feel that way. It's still true. I've added a little bit of addendum. So when we look at why do great team members stay, they stay because they're really making a difference. But I've added in making a difference while making a living, making a difference while making a living. So we've come to this transitional point, and I want to say, like, I've had team members in the group, I've seen team members that are so purpose driven, so powerful, making a difference, so convicted about the power of chiropractic that they'll do whatever it takes. They're selling plasma, blood. I had one that was a surrogate, like doing whatever it takes to make enough money to make a living and still be able to make a difference in the practice. But even that hasn't been enough in some cases. So let's break this down. I've been on a journey for the last I guess like 11, 12 years now. And in that time, I've traveled the world and trained chiropractic assistants all around the globe. I've worked with Tony Robbins, studied psychology, anthropology, neurolinguistics programming. And in that time, the big question that I asked, the journey that I went on, was what really inspires people, right? My business is Inspired Practice Solutions. What inspires team members? What inspires employees, right? To make a difference, really work hard, do their best. And what I've found is it's very generational, right? This generation is inspired in a very different way than the last generation. And unfortunately, most coaching programs and resources that are available to chiropractors are training on the previous generation, how to inspire, motivate, hire, train the previous generation. So what may have worked 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, does not work today. So we've got to move with the times. We've got to pivot here and look at what is going to work today. Okay. So I've taken some notes here of specific things, information that I've collected from some of the best CAs on the planet of why they work so hard. What is it that gets them to volunteer on the weekends, to do promo events, to stay an extra hour if they need to, to push harder, do whatever it takes to meet those goals? What is that X factor, that it factor? Is it the type of person? Is it where you hired them, how you hired them? What is it? And that's what you're going to discover today in this call. And then, more importantly, like what is it that really motivates them to maintain their edge? Because it's one thing to have a sharp team, another to really maintain the edge, and what's going to keep them there for the long haul. Okay. So the first one, when I look at these extraordinary team members, I have four, I may add in a bonus five. So 4 or 5 reasons why great team members, how to train them and retain them. Now, the first one, across the board, the best team members I see that work the hardest, they have a leader that's living it, right? Their chiropractor is getting adjusted. Their chiropractor is eating healthy, following the advice he's giving patients or she's giving patients. Their chiropractor is an inspired, powerful leader, and really living it. So the best thing you can do if you want to have a rock star team, right, is invest in yourself. Be a rock star person and a rock star leader. I love seeing the look on my CA's faces when they talk about their chiropractors. Their face lights up. And I think sometimes we forget, or I see a lot of chiropractors forget that And often, in most cases, like their chiropractor is their hero, right? They see these miracles all day long, and the chiropractor deliver chiropractic, and they really look up to them and look up to their lifestyle. When I ask CAs what you love about your job or why have you stayed, it almost always starts with, well, there's two things that they say. More often than not, it starts with like, oh, I'm really inspired, by my chiropractor. I've learned so much about health from Dr. Martinez, Dr. Mark. I've learned so much about health, and this really changed my life. Or I came in as a patient and it changed my life. And then the other one, of course, you probably would have guessed it, is the patients. Like, I love the patients. I'm here for the patients. So, one of the most valuable things you can do is really live it. Be it, set the example of what it looks like to be extraordinary. And whatever time you're in the office, whether that's 5 minutes or 5 hours, being present, playing full out in that time. Um, my chiropractor explained it to me like this. She said that she had this was Dr. Nona Javid. She said she had the beginning of the day, she would look at her life like a deck of cards, and she would lay all the cards face down on the table. And one was, her son, and one was the practice, and one was her husband, and one was this, and one was that. And she would only pick, she said, I'd only pick up one card at a time. And if I picked up the card that was, my patients, I was focused only on my patients, channeling all my love and all my energy into my patients in that moment. And then I'd set it down. And if I picked up the card that was my team, right, or my billing or whatever, I would focus all of my energy into that, even if it was just for a moment, right? Making moments matter and being present in those times. So the way that your team gets inspired and motivated by you is you giving them your presence, even if it's for 40 seconds, right? Really being present. They want to feel heard. They want to feel loved. Like that's going to motivate and inspire. And I had um, a cool thing that I got to observe, and this was Tony and his wife. And they were just so in love and flirty like kids still to this day. Like they have this great relationship. And when I was part of that community and traveling um, with the community, I noticed, hey, they hardly see each other. Like they go sometimes days and like pass in the hall for a second. They're both so busy. They're traveling full time, both running uh, dozens of companies. So I asked Tony's wife, I said, how do you stay so like in love and have that spark? And she kind of looked down and she looked up and she said, well, she said, whenever I see Tones, that's what she calls him. She says that whenever I see him, I make a point to give him all of me and like all of my love and energy. So she's like, some days if I just pass him in the hall for 2 seconds while we're both walking down the hall, I look up from whatever I'm doing, I pause, I look him straight in the eye as I'm passing him, and I give him all my love and all my presence. Then she says, all right, tap him on the ass. Right? So I just love that story so much because it's such a great reminder to be all in that moment, even when you have a million things to do. So being able to set that example as a leader to those that follow you is very inspiring and motivating, and it demands that they step up into excellence and step up into presence as well. So that's the first one. The second one, this one is going to be so silly, and I cringed when I added it to my list. This is a new one. A huge motivator for this generation is paid time off. People want to work less and get paid more. Now, before you totally hang up on this call or cringe, because I did, and I tried to like deny this. Like I tried to believe that it wasn't true for years. And then I started interviewing and surveying people and studying our culture. And because we live in a culture where everything is systemized and automized, we've actually gotten really efficient. right? We've gotten really, really efficient. Think of the this generation going on a hike, right? Like they can go on a 10-minute hike and they've created like extraordinary videos and reels and shared pictures and like done all these things that 10 years ago, would have taken 20 hours of work. And they've done this in a 10-minute hike and posted it and told everyone about it. And, 200 people have seen it. So we just live in this really weird time where you can be extremely efficient and really get a lot done with the amount of time that you have. And also where things are just very expensive. But I found what motivates CAs the most is time, like having time with their family and presence. And isn't that true for everybody? Like, I feel like that's what motivates my doctors the most too. And that's why people hire me, because I help doctors gain the freedom, right, of having a practice that can run and grow without them. And they can step out at any given moment and know like their team's got this and it's going to continue to not only run, like numbers won't just stay the same, they'll continue to grow. And like that is freedom, right? That is freedom when you're not caged in. And that's just a human desire that's so rooted now in this generation where we have to work really hard. And people want that time with their family, the paid time off. So, how are you creating your culture? So, this is really about your culture in the practice or in your company. What's the company culture? And is it supportive of freedom? Is it supportive of health? Is it supportive of paid time off? Are you connecting the dots that their job here in a chiropractic office is the path to that freedom and health, right? Because they're under care, it's bringing them health, vibrancy, freedom, because they're under their families under care, and it's health, vibrancy, freedom. And then what kind of systems do you have in place that includes family? So for instance, I had an office, this doctor in Chicago called me up and was like, hey, I'm so frustrated. I've had the same goal for 10 years. He wanted to see 1,000 a week, which I know is a really big goal for a lot of people. And he had been through a couple, team transitions, and every time they'd put it on their goal list, rah, 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 they'd do all the things, they'd grow a whole bunch. But for whatever reason, they could only really get in that 800, 850, which is great, right? Like a lot of offices would be like, that's amazing. But he was so unhappy to the point of even depression at one point, that he felt no matter what, he couldn't meet that goal. So what we did is just implemented a really simple bonus system using what motivated, and you guys are going to like laugh when you hear this, thinking it's so simple, but we used what motivated the team the most. So when we went through and like asked them, their motivators, we did some quizzes to see what motivated them. They wanted family time, they wanted vacation. So I asked the doctor, like we ran the numbers to see like, okay, what at 1,000 a week would make him still super profitable, but what could he bonus his team? And then I interviewed the team members. And so we came up with something. I asked the team, like, if you could have anything, what would it be? They wanted to go to Hawaii and bring their family for a week vacation. So, and we checked, the numbers checked out. He could do this at 1,000 a week. So we're like, okay, within 4 months, they met that goal. So the goal that they had been looking for 10 years, within 4 months, they met it when we essentially gave paid time off, right? So that's real power of that. I know it's easy to be like, oh, this is cringy. And I'm the same way. Like I was raised very old school, very like, if you are hired for a job and you go to the bathroom, if you're walking and not running on the way to the bathroom, you're stealing from your boss. And truly, like to this day, that's my mentality. I can't read a text if I'm like on the clock, because I feel like that would be stealing from my employer. And I really do believe that. And so that's why this was so cringy to me. But can you see how we can leverage this and really make it work for practice profit, but also fulfillment? of the doctor, the team members, the patients by creating these types of opportunities. So what's gonna motivate them, it could be different for each team member. When you look at businesses that are really good at employee retention, they take really good care of their employees. Look at Google, they have napping cots. You know what I mean? They have these little like circle, it looks like a little spaceship for their employees to nap in, and they have napping breaks. I mean, it's crazy, but then you look at their employee like happiness level and retention, and it's off the charts. So maybe we should look at what's working really well and how can we implement some of this here. And then the next one, point number 3, and this one is really important, is growth. What growth opportunities do they have here in this culture? And they have so many in chiropractic, but it's bringing that to their awareness. So are we offering them growth opportunities? Is it, part of working here, we require that you go to this seminar, we require that you're part of this mastermind? Or is it like, hey, we are a part of this amazing group, right? This amazing coaching group that teaches high level human behavior and communication and psychology, really next level world class stuff on how to communicate and be more effective in your communication. And our employees get to go to these events quarterly and learn. So this is stuff you're not only going to be able to use in the practice, but use in your life. Right? See the difference? Because here I have teams, right, that are required to go to events and their doctor frames it one way and they're like, oh no, I have to do this, I have to leave and blah, 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 and I don't get paid or whatever. And then others where the team members are so excited, right? And so excited to be part of this and have this opportunity, and they're using it as personal growth and growing their relationships. So my one of my favorite people in the world, Roberto Monaco, says set the frame to win the game. Set the frame to win the game. Roberto teaches public speaking to chiropractors and great business owners. So shameless Roberto plug. I just think his skill set is fantastic. If you want to give better talks, I would definitely reach out to Roberto. Let him know I sent you. And no, I'm not an affiliate partner or anything like that. So here we go. So what opportunities of growth, and just write these down. What opportunities of growth am I giving my team, right? You may even, whatever your team is, maybe your team is your kids, your family, maybe you're a CA here, logging in, but you are a leader, you're an office manager of other team members. What opportunity of growth do they have? Do they have access to their own coach, their own CA coach, someone that's going to help support them, right? And the way that you have support, what are the growth opportunities for them? So, 2 that you can have today, right, is you can join our mastermind. So we meet every single week. When I was a CA, I was so discouraged at the lack of community amongst CAs, right? Like my doctor had a coach, we'd go to these events and all the chiropractors would talk about things and learn from each other. But then the CAs were kind of on their island. So I created the CA Mastermind group, which is the only group in the world that exists like this, where it's practices from all around the globe that have different specialties, different skill sets. There's no division. It's not like, oh, we're only a group of corrective care CAs. We're only a group of, Gonstead CAs. It's a mix of CAs that come in together and grow together and support each other in the process. So we meet every single week, the first 3 weeks of the month. I train on a topic specific to the practice. So we train on everything a CA does in the practice, everything, marketing, growth, new patient phone call tour, like everything tip to tail. So we'll train on a topic, and then there's a Q&A where not only am I able to help answer those questions, but they have this panel of expert CAs to come in and help answer those questions and help support each other. And what's happening, what's really cool, my CAs love it because it maximizes their time, right? If they have 10 things they have to do, like I need to make this flyer for this event and I need to do this and we need to up collections in this area, we need to up percentage kept, they can come in to the group and be like, hey, how are you guys doing this? Who has a flyer? Who has 10 one-liners? You know, who has this and that I can use? And the group offers that support for them. So it quantum leaps them. It 10x's their efforts by having this support. And then, so we do that the first 3 Tuesdays of the month. Fourth Tuesday, I release a training video, and these training video topics are based off of my doctor's requests. So any doctors that are part of this group, they'll text, email, call me like, hey, can you train on this? And I create training videos specifically for your practice. Or we make sure that's covered in the call. So sometimes I get a text like 10 minutes before going live, hey, we've really been struggling with X, Y, and Z this week. I'll make sure that's covered and integrated into that day's lesson. So it's like immediate response, immediate help. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to dig through some old, antiquated training video library to try to find something that's relevant and then put them on an hour video that they can only use 4 minutes of. So it just really increases efficiency. And then when we have Fifth Tuesdays, we bring in experts that are both inside and outside of chiropractic to help really support the team. So like we had one of the world's top emotional intelligence experts. We had the person that has broken records in external marketing events for chiropractors come in. So I bring in really good people to add even more value. So if that's something that you want, I'm going to put in the comment box or have Brittany put in the comment box my phone number and some links here. So reach out today and get in that group today. It's only $337 a month. I don't even run promos on this because it's already so affordable. So $337 a month. You join, you're part of this group. You have all the rewatches if your team can't attend live. And we also have training videos if you prefer that route. I always, whether it's with me or someone else, give your team growth opportunities to go to events and have access to a trainer other than you. Because that can be like the biggest time suck is when practice owners, right, and doctors are spending their time training rather than seeing patients. If you love it, if that's your jam, if that's your zone of brilliance, awesome, like do it. That's great. But if you don't love it or you don't have the time for it, please get some support. Okay, so point number 4 is making a difference. Making a difference while making a living is what's going to motivate your team. So showing them and connect the dots. An example of this would be a chiropractor at the end of the shift. Let's say you're having your post-shift huddle. In the post-shift huddle, you're looking at what's great, or what do we do great, what could we do better next shift. And in that time, the chiropractor that did a day 1 might share some exceptional results. They might share how this is going to change this person's life being under care here. And then they may go back and be like, hey, Jenny up front, Susie, Sam, whoever took that call, right? You took that call, right? You got them in, right? You did or you went to the event, the marketing event, and signed them up there, right? Because of what you did, because of your efforts, like this person's life's going to change forever, and their family's going to change forever. So really helping CAs connect the dots that they are significant and make a huge difference here in what they do. That's the biggest thing the CAs in my group have is confidence. Like I really build confidence and leadership and ownership in them. So they feel such a responsibility and ownership of the practice, and they have confidence in what they do because it is making a difference. And it's true, I believe with all of my heart that it is the CA's impact that really makes a difference. Some of you have heard my story where my mom was extremely sick and nothing nothing could help her. She was essentially sent home to die, like hospice level. And I bring her into this chiropractic office, and for the first time in a year and a half, someone looked at her like she was going to live. And that was the CA that walked around the front desk, looked her in the eye, smiled, shook her hand, nodded, and said, "We've been expecting you." And that was really the moment that made such a difference in creating belief that she deserved to live and could live and was going to be healthy. And so I feel that it's really, in many cases, the CA that makes the difference on whether or not a person is going to be under care. And if you don't believe me, I can prove it to you, right? Look at first impressions, look at psychology of buying. Most people make that decision within the first 8 seconds. And who are they interacting with? Typically, not the chiropractor, right? They're interacting with the CA. So, what are those first 8 seconds like? Most cases, patients decide if they're going to be a patient before they even meet the chiropractor. And so that's why your team is important, and their confidence and ability to really deliver chiropractic at a high level. And yeah, so let's make sure they're making a difference. As far as pay goes, because I get a lot of questions on that, especially now, I cannot give you a dollar amount because you're all in different states and different little micro economies. So I can't give you a dollar amount, but what I can say is find out what motivates your team the most and what they want, whether it's salary, hourly. The biggest mistake I've seen is people putting the wrong personality. Let me correct that. The biggest mistake in regards to pay, right, is people putting someone that has the wrong personality and the wrong motivators on salary that should be on hourly, or vice versa. Um, I hear that quite often, like, "Oh, I switched this team member to salary, and now like they're working less hours and not producing at the same level." So again, if that's something like you need help identifying these specific things in your team members, please reach out. I can help you with that. That's my zone of genius, is looking at people and figuring out what motivates them. A great online thing you can do that's free is called a DISC profiling test. Do your DISC profiling test, DISC. And this is so great to do on your whole team. There's a lot of free ones online. Just look up free DISC profiling test. Tony Robbins has one where you do it, they email you the results, and you're going to discover like what really motivates and inspires your team. And maybe you're here and you're like, "Oh, yeah, we do that," or "We did tests." Have you gone back and looked at them? Is it part of like your quarterly ritual to go back and really look at what motivates your team, or retest them as things change? There's things like, the love language test, the 5 love language test. Raise your hand if you've done that one. Probably almost everyone here has done that. It's so popular. And that one I don't like as much because it's so obvious when you're taking the test what the answers are going to be. It's like, what do you like better, a gift or a hug? Like, so, however, it's helpful to know what motivates your team. And for pay, like, don't forget to ask. Like, it's okay to just ask them, are they going what is more exciting to them? What excites them more? A profit share structure, bonus structure? Make it really achievable, make it really exciting, and have them create it too. Like, and then you could figure out what numbers make that happen. So you can ask your team, like, what experience or what dollar amount would be a bonus that excited you so much that you would do whatever it took, to get to that, and help them create that, like the team with the trip to Hawaii, right? What might sound insane, but then we ran the numbers and we're like, okay, like we just need to grow 200 to 300 patient visits a week. We can make this happen. The systems were in place. I helped them with it, and they got there. And so then everybody's happy. It's a win-win. Like, obviously, you got to do what's going to still be profitable for you in the business. Sliding scales are one of my favorites. That's how I would want to be paid. Sliding scales are really powerful too with your team. So, sliding scales bonus. What I would say is if you are going to do like a lower hourly or salary and then have bonuses, they have to be achievable and you've got to have touch points along the way, and like little boosts. So, what are like weekly bonuses that can be achieved? Okay, if we're at 95 or above percentage kept appointments, we get bonus this or we get bonus that. And if you already have these in place, ask yourself, how long has this been in place? Like, am I still bonusing the $10 for percentage kept appointments that I was bonusing back in the 80s? And if so, is it time to maybe switch this up a bit? And what could we add to it? Okay, so I know we're unfortunately about out of time for today, but I hope that was helpful. Make sure to jump in the chat box here. I'm going to go ahead and give you my phone number. And if you want to hop on, now's a really good time to join the mastermind. If you want to join today, you're going to get access to the video, to the mastermind that we did today, this morning. And then your team will have live access for the rest of the month. So again, this is monthly, and I've done it this way on purpose because if it's not working for you or not working for me, like if your team's not showing up, if they're not committed, if they're not contributing, I will ask you to leave the group. And also, if it's not producing more profit and more fulfillment for you as the owner, then I suggest you leave the group. So for that reason, we have high-level people in the group that are really committed and producing more fulfillment and profit every single month. That's our motto. So if that's something you want for your practice, join in. I'm not making you sign a contract or do crazy prepays. It's simply monthly, $337. So I just put my phone number there. My website's getting work done, but that's inspiredpracticesolutions.com if you want to go to my website, or just call or text me. I would be able to get back to you today and get you the rewatch from today, and then we'll get you in the group, or any questions you guys have. I'm gonna hang around for like 5 minutes to answer questions, comments, or value you can add. How do you train and retain your extraordinary team? How do you train and retain your extraordinary team? Before I do that, I want to share, who knows Dr. Chris Zano? He kind of almost like invented or made popular the dinner with the doctor concept and like lunch and learns, those types of things. He's extraordinary, great speaker. He'd be good to come to your event, Danielle. Dr. Chris Zano, a great speaker. He won like Mr. America. He did bodybuilding and built one of the largest, if not the largest, corrective care practices. And so anyways, I was speaking with him about this very concept because he had team members that stayed with him for a long time. And so I was asking him a lot of questions about that. And one thing that he said that was really cool. Yeah, exactly. Dr. Chris Zano. It's in our chat box here, Dr. Chris Zano. So what he said is, he said, whenever I have a great team member leave, I look at it like a donation to chiropractic. And I thought that was really cool, evolved mindset. And then he shared some stories. He said, I've had team members that have left and they've gone to chiropractic school, become chiropractors, and a lot of them have come back and worked for me. He said, I've had team members that have left, and although they have left because of the impact that was made in their life here in the office, they're still referring people to me this day in this practice. So check it out, guys. You get a free employee that's out there building your practice and referring to you, right? So there are some cases where you're like, hey, people will leave, they will move on, in some cases, and finding that piece with that, right? Having a well-trained team member, right, that leaves, it can happen, but they're going to contribute back to chiropractic and back to you. I had a doctor ask, what if I train my team and invest in them and then they leave? And I was like, what if you don't? Like, the only thing worse than having an amazing team member leave is having one that's untrained and making mistakes stay, right? So we've got to just go all in and give it our all in our training. So questions, what questions, thoughts do you guys have, value to add to the group? We'll stick around for about 4 minutes here, answer questions. Give some names on here I can't pronounce, but if you're on here and have found a way to motivate and inspire, train your team, retain great team members, please share with us. Or if you have any training questions, resources that you need, if I can't help you, I'll find someone that can. Oh, wonderful. So we have in the chat box, human design is another option for testing. Instead of DISC, human design might be a little more new school. We would do also, my offices do like quarterly team building things, like quarterly team building meetings where they set their goals and we call them quarterly retreats. So you might do something like make vision boards with your team. My favorite bonuses are ones that really enrich your team members' lives. So, for instance, I had a chiropractor who had a team member that was really into yoga and wanted to do teacher training, but it was challenging financially. And so, as a gift at the quarterly retreat, she gave her team member yoga teacher training class as a gift. So she was able to take that and get her certification. And then what's cool is now think about the difference between like fear mindset and abundance mindset in this. That doctor could have been like, oh no, if I give her this training, she'll be a certified yoga instructor and leave me and teach yoga instead and blah, 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 blah. But it didn't actually end up working that way, right? She had this abundant mindset. I want to invest in my team. Her CA got the yoga teacher training and then ended up teaching classes at the office as a value add for patients. And then there was huge crossover. She did work at a yoga studio on the weekend, and that yoga studio referred more people to the chiropractic office than anyone ever, and ended up creating a really good power partnership. Beautiful. Any other questions? 2 more minutes, jump in, questions or value adds for the group. Beautiful. Okay, so before I end the meeting, snatch up my cell phone number from the chat box, copy it down, and call me or text me today, because we do have open registration this week for Mastermind. So it's got to be done this week. We like people to join at the beginning of the month. Getting ready to hire new employees. This is helpful. Wonderful. I have so many trainings on hiring and so much that I can help you with. I help my clients hire and actually help with the interview process. So if that's something that you need, reach out and I'll help, or any questions you have on verbiage for ads, where to find the good people, all of that. We even have a hiring webinar we'll be teaching later in the year as well. Beautiful. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Thank you for being here. Give me a thumbs up if you got what you came here for. I hope you did. It was honestly a little weird teaching to people with the cameras off. So join by camera when you come on Zooms. You'll get more out of the experience, and it's helpful for everybody in the group. Have a great day. Bye.